The best moments in golf history. This is one of the most creative and unbelievable shots in Masters history. It's the 2012 Masters sudden death playoff. Bubba Watson against Louis Oosthuizen, fighting for the green jacket on Augusta's brutal 10th hole. Bubba's drive misses far right and lands buried deep in the pine straw, surrounded by thick trees with zero clear view of the green. Every professional would play safe and chip back to the fairway, but Bubba refuses to surrender. He pulls out a gap wedge, aims almost away from the flag, and crafts an insane low, massive hook. The ball threads through a tiny tree gap, bends sharply left in midair, and lands perfectly on the green, just inches from a safe birdie look. This impossible shot completely shifts the playoff momentum, shocks the entire gallery, and single-handedly wins Bubba Watson his first Masters championship. This is one of the most insane recovery shots in golf history. During the 2013 Arnold Palmer Invitational, Sergio Garcia's drive got stuck high up in an oak tree. Everyone thought the hole was over, and he would simply take a penalty drop. He climbed the tall tree barehanded, balanced himself on a tiny branch, held the trunk with one arm, and hit the golf ball with a backward one-handed swing. Against all odds, the ball flew out perfectly and landed safely back on the fairway, shocking every spectator on site. While climbing down, Garcia injured his shoulder. This miraculous downhill cliff recovery from Justin Thomas became the viral shot of the 2018 WGC Dell Match Play. Thomas's second shot careened off the green and tumbled down a massive rocky limestone bluff, landing buried in tangled thick rough nearly 10 vertical meters below the putting surface, with a tall stone ledge blocking every simple escape line. Most touring pros would chip sideways to save a bogey, but JT refused to surrender the hole. Standing on an almost unplayable slippery slope, he opened his lob wedge face and crafted a towering high float trajectory that cleared the jagged stone wall perfectly. The ball landed soft on the green and settled just 5 feet from the cup. He tapped in for a stress-free par, shutting down his opponent's match momentum, with one of the most creative downhill recovery shots in recent PGA Tour history. This is the moment that cemented Tiger Woods' legend at Augusta. It's the 2005 Masters final round, 16th hole. Tiger holds a one-shot lead over Chris DiMarco, but pulls his tee shot left, leaving a brutal 50-foot chip from the fringe. DiMarco already has a birdie putt to tie. Tiger opens the face, plays the high-risk line up the ridge, and the ball spins back toward the cup. It hangs on the lip, teasing the crowd, then drops. The roar is deafening. DiMarco misses his putt, and Tiger never looks back, capturing his 4th green jacket. This legendary casual long putt from Jack Nicklaus became one of the most viral golf clips of 2016, filmed at Harbor Shores during the Senior PGA Championship broadcast. The Golden Bear designed this tricky undulating 10th green himself. He dropped a ball 102 feet away from the cup, with a winding line full of downhill dips and sharp side breaks. That confused every touring pro all week. With one calm stroke, Nicklaus rolled the ball perfectly along every subtle contour. The packed grandstand roared to their feet, and Jack casually joked afterward, "What was so hard about that?" This effortless miracle putt proved why he remains golf's undisputed GOAT even decades after his competitive prime. This iconic knee-down recovery shot perfectly captured Seve Ballesteros' unmatched creative genius on golf's toughest lies, filmed during a European Tour event. His ball landed wedge-tight beneath dense pine bushes, with heavy overhead branches blocking every standard upright swing. Every touring professional would take a penalty drop to save bogey without hesitation. But Seve dropped to one knee to shrink his swing plane drastically, adopting a putting-style short stroke to heat a skimming low runner through the tiny gap between limbs. The ball rolled clean onto the green to salvage par, stunning fans and commentators alike. Seve's fearless improvisation on impossible lies cemented his legend. This is the greatest comeback story in golf history. Tiger Woods' legendary 2019 Masters victory. After years of career-threatening back injuries, multiple surgeries, and a 14-year green jacket drought, Tiger returned to Augusta's final Sunday with nothing to lose. Tiger returned to Augusta's final Sunday with nothing to lose. Tiger took control with a crucial birdie on 15th and a brilliant slope-saving par on the iconic 16th hole. He stayed steady on the final holes, holding off Dustin Johnson, Brooks Koepka and Xander Schauffele. When the final putt dropped, the entire gallery erupted. After 14 long years, Tiger Woods was finally a Masters champion again. This victory didn't just win a green jacket, it completed the most. This legendary nearly 500-yard tee shot from Louis Oosthuizen remains one of the most viral long drive moments in European Tour history. Playing the par 5 first hole at Blackstone Golf Club, a steep downhill 583-yard layout, Oosthuizen's tee shot drifted right onto the paved cart path that ran the full length of the fairway. The hard asphalt combined with the extreme slope sent the ball rolling endlessly like a marble, racing past the green and nearly out of bounds. The broadcast tracked the ball for nearly 2 full minutes before it finally came to rest. This absurd downhill cart path roller shot has stayed a staple in every golf highlight reel for over a decade. This final 18th hole of the 18-hole extended playoff at the 2008 U.S. Open Torrey Pines, competing with a fully torn knee ligament and damaged meniscus. Tiger had already endured 4 grueling tournament rounds, barely able to walk without sharp leg pain. Tiger delivered a steady long iron approach to the green, leaving himself a manageable putting distance. Mediate failed to save par and dropped a bogey, while Tiger tapped in clean par to grab a critical 1-stroke lead. He would go on to seal his 14th major title on the sudden death 19th hole. This battle defined by pure mental and physical resilience. This iconic recovery shot defined Seve Ballesteros' historic 1984 Open Championship victory at St Andrews Old Course. His ball settled tight against the base of the ancient stone boundary wall, which completely blocked any standard upright swing. Every touring professional would chip sideways to avoid risk and save bogey. But Seve, golf's legendary shot-making magician, refused to surrender ground in his title chase. He crouched deep to shrink his swing plane, sweeping a razor-thin low runner that skimmed the tiny gap between grass and stone, rolling cleanly over undulating rough onto the putting surface. The packed crowd lined along the stone wall roared at his fearless improvisation. This clutch par save locked in momentum for Seve, who lifted his second Claret Jug trophy at week's end. Decades later, this vintage clip remains a staple highlight, celebrated as the perfect example of his unmatched creativity on impossible lies. This heart-stopping cliff-edge recovery from Jordan Spieth. Spieth's tee shot rolled too far and settled mere inches from a 60-foot vertical canyon drop-off. Standing on loose thin grass with zero room for weight shift, he planted his feet firmly backward to balance against the deadly drop, grabbed a 7-iron, and restricted his swing to minimal movement to avoid slipping off the bluff. From 162 yards across the wide canyon, his precise iron carried safely onto the far green, just past the flag. He chipped and one-putted for a stress-free par save. Spieth later called this the most nerve-wracking shot of his entire career. The clip generated such massive buzz that tournament officials permanently modified the 8th-hole cliff edge to stop players recreating this death-defying swing. During Masters Tuesday practice, Jon Rahm pulled off a brilliant skip-bounce hole-in-one on Augusta's famous par 3 16th. He hit a low runner that bounced twice short of the green, then rolled perfectly into the cup. The gallery lining the water erupted in loud cheers, and Rahm grinned in disbelief at his own crafty shot. While countless aces have happened on Augusta's 16th over decades, this intentional skip and roll hole-in-one is one of the most unique trick-style highlights from Masters practice week, loved for its creative, unorthodox ball flight. This spectacular recovery shot from Tiger Woods on the 12th hole remains his most iconic mid-career escape highlight at the 2015 Quicken Loans National Final Round. His tee shot buried deep in thick uphill rough, with dense trees blocking the straight line to the green. Almost every tour pro would lay up safely to avoid a costly mistake. Yet Tiger pulled out a 5-iron for a full 220-yard aggressive approach. He flattened his swing plane to produce a razor-low penetrating trajectory, threading the tiny gap between bushes. The ball carried all the way onto the putting surface, rolling to rest just 18 feet past the cup. The packed grandstand erupted instantly at the audacious shot, though he too putted for bogey. This fearless full-stroke recovery perfectly embodied Tiger's signature all-out attacking style, even with nagging injuries slowing his game. He refused to play conservatively from an impossible lie, cementing this clip as a legendary Woods highlight. This is Rory McIlroy's infamous four-putt meltdown on Sunday at the 2014 BMW Championship. The viral four putts again moment golf fans still talk about. Sitting T3 at 8 under par and just a few shots off the lead, Rory landed his 196-yard approach perfectly on the par 3 12th green, setting up a straightforward birdie chance. His first putt came up short, leaving only a trivial 3-foot tap-in, yet he rolled it far past the cup. His second return putt lipped out, the third also slid wide, and it took a fourth stroke just to hole out for a costly double bogey. This disastrous four-putt wiped out his title contention, and to make it even more absurd, he'd already four-putted the exact same hole the day before from barely 4 feet away. Back-to-back four putts on one single green crushed his championship hopes, creating one of the most relatable and hilarious pro golf blooper highlights ever broadcast. Tied for third at 4 under, just one stroke behind the tournament leaders, Rory needed an aggressive long iron to chase birdie. As he unleashed full power into impact, the iron head tore away from the shaft and flew yards sideways, leaving only the bare grip and shaft in his hands. Against all odds, the ball still carried a steady flight and landed safely on the green. Rory stood frozen staring at the loose clubhead with a confused laugh, and the entire gallery erupted in shocked laughter at the absurd sight. This is Rory McIlroy's legendary defiant moment at the 2016 Hazeltine Ryder Cup Singles against Patrick Reed. Hostile American fans jeered and heckled Rory nonstop all match, turning up the noise to throw him off. The pair traded brilliant birdies and fiery celebrations hole after hole. He read every tier perfectly and rolled the ball straight into the cup for birdie. Right after holing out, he cupped both hands to his ears and roared "I can't hear you" to taunt the noisy home crowd, though Team USA claimed the trophy. This fiery putt and celebration remains one of the most iconic shots in Ryder Cup history. At the 1974 Open Championship Royal Lytham, Gary Player held a 6-shot lead heading to the closing par 4 18th hole. His approach rolled all the way past the green, pinning the ball tight against the brick clubhouse wall. The building was ruled an immovable obstruction with no free drop allowed, leaving zero room for a standard right-handed swing. Surrounded by vintage broadcast cameras and galleries, Player flipped his putter and played left-handed off the back of the club face. He rolled the ball perfectly onto the green 10 feet from the cup, two-putted for par, and secured his third claret jug by 4 strokes. This impossible wall recovery stands as one of the most legendary vintage major short game miracles. Rory McIlroy headed back to the par 4 18th sudden death playoff, with the green jacket and career Grand Slam hanging entirely on this single hole. Rory unleashed a smooth, straight tee shot that landed dead center fairway, safely clearing all water and thick rough lining the hole. From 125 yards out, he struck a spin-laden wedge that landed on the upper green ridge, trickling softly downhill to rest a mere 3 feet from the cup for a tap-in birdie. He tossed his putter and dropped to his knees in tears, ending over a decade of crushing Augusta near misses, claiming his first Masters green jacket and securing a historic career Grand Slam. In the final round of the 2017 Open Championship at Royal Birkdale, Jordan Spieth battled Matt Kuchar in a tight title fight separated by just 1 stroke. His tee shot on the 13th veered wildly right, flying over giant sand dunes and landing trapped behind practice equipment and bushes. With 0 straight line to the green, 170 yards from the flag, Spieth climbed the dune to spot a tiny gap, crushed a low 7-iron hook that cleared the high mound and sailed past obstacles safely back to the fairway. He saved par to stay in contention, surged ahead on the back 9 and claimed his 3rd major trophy. This impossible dune escape remains the most iconic recovery in modern Open Championship history. Hideki Matsuyama arrived at the decisive par 4 18th hole clinging to a slim advantage, Needing only a bogey to win the Masters, he struck a solid tee shot down the fairway. Yet tension sent his approach sliding into the tricky greenside bunker with a tall lip and downhill green, leaving almost no room for error. Matsuyama composed himself and splashed out a perfect spin-controlled sand shot to 6 feet from the cup. His par putt lipped out, but he tapped in the tiny bogey putt to seal a one-stroke victory. This clutch bunker escape secured his historic green jacket, making him the first male Asian champion in Masters history. At the brutal wind-swept Kiowa Ocean Course 2021 PGA Championship, 50-year-old Phil Mickelson clung to a slim one-shot lead over Brooks Koepka heading to the par 5 18th, the title hanging entirely on his closing putt. After reaching the green in 2 shots, he faced a tricky 10-foot multi-tier downhill putt. Any slight misjudgment of speed would lead to a costly 3-putt bogey, forcing a playoff and ending his historic major bid. Mickelson studied every slope of the green, delivered a soft, and watched the ball curve perfectly down the gradient to drop cleanly into the cup for par, opening a 2-stroke winning buffer. This clutch closing putt secured his 6th major trophy, and etched his name in history as the oldest male major champion ever. Heading to the decisive second playoff par 5 18th at the 2025 Mexico Open, Brian Campbell was chasing his first PGA Tour win after 187 winless starts and years of hand injuries. His opponent Aldrich Potgieter crushed a perfect tee shot down the fairway, while Campbell's drive faded hard toward out-of-bounds stakes, seemingly ending his title dream instantly. The golf gods delivered a miracle. The ball slammed into a tree trunk and ricocheted back into playable rough, giving him a fighting chance. Campbell laid up cleanly, then spun a wedge to just 3 feet from the cup. Potgieter missed his birdie putt from the bunker, leaving Campbell to tap in the winning birdie. This once-in-a-lifetime tree bounce secured his long-awaited maiden tour victory, earning him Masters and Players Championship. Only 4 days removed from his legendary Cinderella run at the PGA Championship, club teaching pro Michael Block received a sponsor's exemption to compete at the Charles Schwab Challenge. On the par for 10th hole, his powerful to 7-yard tee shot drifted far right, rolling through thick rough and coming to rest on a narrow, bumpy gravel cart bridge. The uneven rocky surface left barely any stable footing, while a line of low trees completely blocked any straight path toward the green. Broadcasters and fans alike assumed he would be forced to lay up and take a costly bogey, lowered his center of gravity to steady his unbalanced stance, and opened his wedge face to hit a towering high flop shot. The ball sailed perfectly over the treeline gap and landed gently just off the putting surface. He lagged his first putt perfectly to tap in distance less than 1 foot from the cup. The ball sailed perfectly over the treeline gap and landed gently just off the putting surface, then calmly holed the short putt to save par and erase his disastrous tee shot. This miraculous off-bridge escape sparked a massive roar from the crowd. At the 2022 U.S. Open held at Brookline Country Club, Matt Fitzpatrick battled Will Zalatoris head-to-head all Sunday. He found the fairway safely off the tee, but tension threw off his approach, sending his ball into a steep, high-lipped greenside bunker. The soft sand and downhill green left zero room for error. A heavy splash would roll off the green, force a bogey and send the championship to a playoff. Every spectator fell silent as Fitzpatrick composed himself, splashed out a perfectly spin-controlled sand shot that settled just 6 feet from the flag. He rolled in the calm par putt to seal a one-stroke victory. During a windy round at the 3 Meters Open, Bubba Watson suffered a costly error when his approach shot splashed down in the greenside water hazard, forcing a penalty drop and seemingly guaranteeing a bogey that would derail his tournament chances. After dropping the ball, he faced an improbable 56-foot cross-green putt lined with multiple undulating ridges. leaving almost no room for speed or line mistakes that would lead to a brutal triple bogey. The gallery expected a damaging loss of strokes, but Watson knelt to map every curve and slope on the green before stepping over his putter. He delivered a smooth, controlled stroke. The ball tracked every subtle gradient, rolled over two distinct mounds, and dropped cleanly into the cup for an incredible saving par. This 56-foot miracle long putt completely erased his water hazard mistake, standing as the most unbelievable recovery putt of the entire 3 Meters Open tournament. At the rain-soaked 2024 PGA Championship at Valhalla, Xander Schauffele fought through a packed leaderboard all Sunday, clinging to a fragile one-shot lead heading to the championship par 5 18th. His approach misjudgment sent the ball into a steep, high-lipped greenside bunker inches from the flag. The soft sand and downhill slope left zero margin for error. Schauffele planted his feet firmly in the sand, opened his wedge wide, and executed a towering spin flop shot. The ball floated high, landed softly, and bit hard, stopping just 4 feet from the cup. He calmly holed the birdie putt to seal a one-stroke victory. This clutch bunker recovery delivered Xander Schauffele his second career major championship, making him the only player to claim 2 majors in the 2024 season. In the final round of the 2025 WM Phoenix Open, Jordan Spieth was only his second tournament back after 5 months off recovering from wrist surgery. On the par for 11th, his drive sliced hard right and buried itself deep inside thick desert brush, with zero room for a standard right-handed swing. His only safe option seemed to take an unplayable lie penalty and drop for a certain bogey, breaking his flawless run and falling further behind the leaderboard. Spieth shocked the gallery by pulling out his putter and playing left-handed through the tiny bush gap. The ball rolled cleanly 34 yards back into playable dirt, leaving him 124 yards to the flag. He stuck his wedge to 12 feet and holed the long par putt to keep his bogey-free streak alive. Spieth later said this improbable par was a 1 in 20 escape, cementing this lefty putter bush recovery as one of the most viral creative shots of the entire 2025 PGA Tour season. Tiger's ball was wedged tight against the raised, hard lip of the greenside bunker, trapped between thick rough and sand. Tiger lowered his weight to stabilize his uneven sidehill stance, carefully opening his wedge face to thread the tiny gap between the ball and bunker lip. He delivered a clean, soft flop shot that sailed cleanly over the sand and settled gently just off the putting surface. On the final round of the 2012 Memorial Tournament, Tiger Woods held a slim one-stroke lead heading into the pivotal par 3 16th. His approach came up short, leaving the ball buried in thick downhill rough in front of the green. A lake lies only behind the putting surface. The tough downhill stance and tangled grass made precise distance control extremely difficult, and most expected Tiger to play a safe chip to tap in range. Instead, he opened his wedge face and hit a delicate high flop. The ball landed softly on the green, tracked the slope perfectly, and rolled directly into the cup for an immediate birdie. This clutch chip-in widened his lead over the field, clearing the path to his 73rd PGA Tour victory. This flawless downhill flop that found the bottom of the cup remains one of Tiger's most iconic late-career short game highlights. On the final hole of the 2014 Honda Classic at PGA National, Rory McIlroy sat one stroke back from leader Russell Henley. A massive pond stretched entirely between the fairway and the narrow green, requiring a full 2 for 5 yard carry over water with a tricky crosswind blowing all day. He pulled out his 5-wood and delivered a piercing low draw that skimmed just above the pond's surface, clearing the hazard perfectly and landing safely on the putting surface, leaving a 12-foot eagle putt. This fearless, all-or-nothing water-crossing long iron stands as leaving a 12-foot eagle putt, one of Rory's most iconic bold attacking shots, defining his fearless, aggressive playing style for decades. At the 2022 Saudi International's closing 18th, Harold Varner III pulled off an iconic championship putt. Bubba Watson held a one-stroke clubhouse lead, meaning Varner needed an eagle to win outright. His second shot left him a 90-foot putt on a brutal three-tier green with a water hazard past the hole. Almost everyone expected him to lag for birdie and force a playoff. Varner read every slope carefully and rolled the ball perfectly over the central mound, breaking smoothly down to the flag and dropping in for a walk-off eagle. He celebrated wildly, with Bubba Watson coming over to congratulate him. This unbelievable long putt went viral worldwide, cementing its place among golf's most legendary clutch finishes. On Sunday's final round of the 2017 PGA Championship at Quail Hollow, 22-year-old Jon Rahm pulled off one of the tournament's most viral shots. His approach landed right beside the creek hazard. Instead of wading into the stream or laying up sideways, Rahm turned his back to the flag, gripped the wedge one-handed, and hit a blind backward chip only glancing at the green over his shoulder. The 50-yard shot landed perfectly on the putting surface, wowing the gallery. Though he too putted for bogey and finished well off the lead, this creative, counterintuitive recovery spread wildly online, cementing its place as one of golf's most famous trick shots from a major championship. During round 2 of the 2013 Wyndham Championship, four-time major winner Ernie Els pulled off one of the PGA Tour's most unique putting feats. His third shot rested on the green's fringe, and he intentionally used two putts from off the putting surface to save par. The first stroke rolled downhill past the cup, then his second putt tracked every hidden slope and curled back into the hole. Since neither putt landed on the official putting green, the hole officially counts as a zero-putt par, a rare scoring quirk unique to this highlight. This deliberate display of elite slope control went viral worldwide, remembered as one of golf's most creative trick shots from tournament play. On the final round of 2025 LIV Golf Virginia, 54-year-old six-time major winner Phil Mickelson pulled off an otherworldly flop on the par 4 17th. His approach settled on a steep bunker lip rough, with the pin blocked by slope directly to his right. Every tour pro would play safe to the green's middle. Instead, he cranked open his lob wedge, aimed nearly 90 degrees left of the flag, and hit a sky-high sideways hook that looped back over his shoulder. The ball landed soft and trickled straight into the cup for an improbable birdie. His playing partner Bryson DeChambeau called it one of the greatest shots he'd ever witnessed. This viral trick recovery cemented Lefty's legacy as golf's most creative short-game magician. Sunday singles at the 2025 Ryder Cup brought an epic American comeback that put Europe's trophy defense on the brink. Shane Lowry trailed Russell Henley by 2 holes on the back 9, with every single point critical to stopping the U.S. rally. On the par 4 18th, Henley found a fairway bunker and left his birdie putt short, handing Lowry a make-or-break 6-foot birdie chance. Making this putt would earn Europe the 14 points needed to retain the Ryder Cup. Against deafening home crowd noise, Lowry held his nerve and rolled the ball straight into the cup. He leaped and roared in unbridled celebration, draped in the Irish flag. This iconic clutch putt secured Europe's first Ryder Cup retention on U.S. soil since 2012. The 2012 Ryder Cup at Medinah delivered golf's most legendary comeback, all decided by Martin Kaymer's clutch par putt on the 18th green. Facing Steve Stricker in the anchor match, Kaymer stood over a 6-foot par putt that would seal the miracle comeback. Deafening noise from the home American crowd cranked the pressure to its peak. Remaining ice calm, Kaymer rolled his putt dead center into the cup. The entire European team sprinted onto the green to celebrate. This iconic clutch moment would forever be remembered as the miracle at Medinah. This iconic European Tour footage features prime Tiger Woods pulling off an incredible no-bounce air hole out from far down the fairway. A bunker guards the green, and thousands of spectators watch from behind the putting surface. Every other tour pro would play conservatively to the green. Tiger stays composed under gallery pressure, delivers a pure iron strike, and the ball never touches the ground. It flies straight at the flag and drops clean into the cup for an eagle. This unbelievable strike stands as one of Tiger's most legendary clutch attacking shots of his career.